This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Hey there, it's Brian Sebastian, movie reviews and more. And if it's Tuesday, first of all, it's always Giving Tuesday. Always give to your favorite charities. Donate to the sponsors. Donate to the arts. The arts are in trouble, whether it's PBS, Nashville PBS, you name it. We have to help the museums, those designers, those artists, those authors, those actresses, everybody. So I like that, Rebel, what you did. So she's playing around with things because everything's going chaotic. There's all kinds of weird weather going on across country and everything like that. People are popping in. Terri just popped in. I think she's in Sherman Oaks. Yeah, she's in Sherman Oaks. I'm glad that Jill is here. I'm glad that Carol's here because Carol texted me, said, I'm not going to come on to storms. No, I am going to come on to storms. No, I think I'm going to be here. I'm here because she's in Florida. So we got Tennessee in the house, the dapper Howard Wiggins, the top and one of the 35 top interior designers and art collector because his stuff is worth a lot of money. But
sorry, I have to ask you. I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you see Terri on screen?
Yeah. I can see her.
Yeah, I'm down at the bottom.
No, I know you're here, but I can only see 6 people on the screen. No matter what I was trying to do, I couldn't see you on the screen. But y'all can see Terri on the screen. Yeah, that's all that matters. We are good. Thank you.
Rebel, and so that strange goddess voice, that's our engineer, Rebel. So, we can't do a lot of stuff without him. Again, women power, women empowerment is very, very important. Always support women no matter what. Going back to 2008, that's what I said. I was going to help those women in the world of dressage, the world of fitness, the world of fashion, because I felt they weren't getting their due. And if it weren't for you women, we wouldn't have over 750 million views and counting, and we would have over 40 million views and counting in IG 247 out of Franklin, Tennessee. So with all of that, I'm saying now it's time to get to women empowerment. So Tess Mann, congratulations for being here. I'm honored to meet you. I can't wait to hear your background. Jill, it's good to see you. Can't wait to see you again because I've been telling everybody about hair extensions, even though I don't have hair. I've been telling them about your hair. Marta, it's good to see you because I got a chance to see the show because I'm a movie whore. I have to watch everything. You send me something, I will watch it. I don't care if it's 90 degrees out or if it's freezing out. You will see me in a movie theater or in my comfort zone watching something. So Carol Register, the neuro coach. It's always good to hear about my friend Carol. We talk almost every day, like Terri and I talk almost every day. So I got to start here first of all. Marta, you're the actress. We got to start with you first. Since this is Hollywood Squares minus the two people who usually feel like, let's talk about LasTres Sistas for one. What you do as that producer, as that writer, as that actress, and why are you connected to that wonderful, beautiful woman, Tess Mann? What's going on with that? Go ahead, Marta.
I don't know why it made me feel like tearing up when you said, why are you connected to Tess Mann? I feel like when you say her name, I feel empowered. She came into a moment of my life where I was releasing as my first time as a director, a short film, and I was in the middle of releasing my feature in theaters nationwide. And I didn't have time as a mom of 2, as an actress running around auditions, as a writer developing other scripts, thinking about what to wear. And I met her during the Oscar run, during one of the Oscar gifting suites. And she was there with a beautiful smile on her face, surrounded by these gorgeous gowns. And I thought, am I worthy? Am I worthy? And she said yes. And she picked out something so beautiful, sent her seamstress to my house which LA is very spread out. Her seamstress drove an hour and a half to make sure I was ready for my red carpet premiere. Then, because there was so much traffic, I invited her seamstress with me to the premiere, and she was sewing my shoulders, making sure everything was perfect. As I walked on, I didn't know how much I needed a super woman cape to feel
like that one.
Yeah.
Like the oh my God, I love it so much. That's the Indira. Am I saying that right, Tess Mann? I want to make sure I give.
Yes.
Yes, the Indira is something that you put on and you feel gorgeous, stunning. You feel like a superwoman. You feel empowered. She made me feel ready to step in as a director, which I was very nervous about as a female director, because as you know, there is not a large percentage of us in Hollywood. And it's a little bit scary to go from in front of the camera to behind the camera. And what you wear on the carpet really does shift how you feel. And because I felt stunning and I felt empowered. And it was a beautiful night. And that was my intro to Tess Mann. It was wild. It was a whirlwind, but it was, now I have a friend for life.
First of all, Marta, you don't look like a mom. You look too good to be a mom. Second of all, there's only 3 to 5% of women directors, which is not enough. It needs to grow. And third thing, even when I see Tess Mann dresses, I'm a straight black guy with no life. I would be wearing them if I was a woman, because they really are. They're gorgeous. I've talked about this with a lot of people. Even Tess, I was at the Greek Film Festival. I saw Sophia on opening night, and I was telling a couple of people, this one would look good in Tess's dress. This one would look good in that. And then I went to the website. I felt like I was your publicist. Sorry, Meredith. And I was showing them what they needed to wear. And they were like, oh, those look beautiful. And then I go, did you know about her? They go, I'm not quite sure. But I'm like, I want that. Okay, I got a phone number. Well, I don't have a phone number yet, but I'm going to. So take a look at those. Tess, talk about this real quick. Some of those images like that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your question. Go ahead.
I said, talk about some of those images of what you created.
Well, I really believe in, number one, using sustainable fabrics, because it's very important to me that we take care of our environment and our, workers in the fashion industry. A lot of people do not realize the toxic level that workers are exposed to when it comes to textile manufacturing, especially, with the polyesters. So when I create my different pieces and the collections, I want to make sure that I'm using silk, cotton, linen, wherever I feasibly can. It's also important that I look at the use of dead stock fabrics. These are fabrics that other designers purchase, and then they go, no, I don't want to use them after all. And they throw them in the garbage, or they throw them into kind of like a discount bins, bargain bins. And if they're not used, then they're stuck in a landfill. So different things that I think about when I'm designing. But this particular collection is called the Sophisticate. And when I was designing these pieces, I wanted to push the envelope of elegance and a sense of very kind of a dichotomy, demure sexuality. So, kind of a hidden sensuality, which is a sense of power, for women is, women have these beautiful bodies. And when we think of powerful women, women tend to think of covering themselves up or having to wear a modified men's pantsuit. And when I'm creating these pieces, I want these to empower women. No matter what role they're in, I want them to feel like they are in charge. When they walk in a room, they command the room. And the pieces are designed to really structure around the woman's body. So there's boning, there's drill, there's several internal layers to really give the female the upper body support that they need, as well as cinching in their waist and hugging their lower body, their buttocks, their thighs in a very smooth and enhancing form.
It's so interesting, Brian, because she's actually, Tess, you've answered the questions that I had. I was curious about the sustainability, and that is such an important priority, especially for me, I think in terms of human trafficking, a lot of what goes on behind the scenes in the fast fashion industry, and whether it's good for our health as women. Do we want to be putting those fabrics next to our skin all the time? And so I love that you spoke about that. And I was going to ask you about the boning as well, because Sophia's dress, that red dress, was just absolutely stunning and so beautiful on her body. And so you also spoke into that and why you do that. And I think that's also incredibly powerful and important to give women the structure that they need to really feel like they're their best selves.
Yeah.
And I want to add to that because I got to interview her in that dress on the red carpet, and it was an amazing dress. And Brian knows that I'm a diva. I love getting dressed up. Every red carpet thing, I'm head to toe. Want to be perfect. My mom actually, who just passed in January, was a fashion merchandiser, and my grandmother actually made clothes for Hollywood and worked with some of the people in Hollywood dressing stars. And so I have a love for fashion. So I just want to say that. And your stuff is beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Question though. I realize, because I'm a little bit older, as far as materials, it just seems in the last 30 years that the materials, and this might be the plastics, most of the clothes that you get in retail now is a plastic consistency where you don't have the leather, the cottons, the silks what we used to have. It's all blended with cheap. It just seems cheap to me. I don't know why that's happened.
I'll go on a limb, and I will say a lot of this happened 20, 30 years ago when the US decided to outsource a lot of their fabrication to other countries, which really did a great disservice. Think about how many textile factories have closed here in the United States, how many workers have lost jobs over the years, and the polyester fabrics that have been imported, when this movement first took place in the late 60s, early 70s, and then to us using factories overseas that we know use polyesters. It's such, if people only took the time to research the toxicity that workers are exposed to, the solvents in creating polyesters and the different synthetics, it would really shock individuals. And I think where they could, they would refuse to buy polyester and synthetic fabrics. The big problem, as we know, is when they end up in a landfill, it takes hundreds of years for them to decompose. But on that same level, they're using such cheap quality production. These pieces fall apart. I mean, you wash them times. I've had to work on other individuals' dresses in my earlier stages, other designers that were using cheap fabrics, and I would try to alter something for an individual. And as soon as I opened the seam, the fabric would start fraying and unraveling. Just poor quality.
So, I got to bring Jill into this, because you can't have the dress without the hair, and you can't have hair without the dress. So, Jill, talk about this, because I ran into you at Peter Mariano's Gifting Suite, which is why I love Gifting Suites, because you find some of the best brands, some of the best people and products, and you just never know what you're going to find. Terri and I have been doing these for years for things, even as a guy, and I know Howard's the same way. I'm looking, okay, what co-host would like this? And my friend in North Carolina is like, everybody's got hair extensions now. I'm like, how do you tell? Can't you tell? Jill, as a straight black guy, I can't tell, which I think is a great thing, but is that true? Are more women wearing hair extensions? Martha's laughing.
I just think it's wonderful. You're like, I'm a straight guy, but I need to know about hair extensions.
I do, because
I
when
do.
you have 12 co-hosts, all women, you're looking at what they like. I know their sizes. I know what their eyelashes. The shoe sizes. All these things. So
that's a really considerate and wonderful co-host. I have to say. You must be wonderful to work with.
I don't know.
But I have to say, Brian, I have been wearing hair extensions since the year 2000. I mean, I wish that my hair would be this long naturally, but I've done every method. I've done the individuals, I've done the wefts, I've done all of it. So,
Jill, don't you know? So Marta and Tess and Jill, you can let me know this. My friend who used to live in Vegas, she used to live in Los Angeles, and now she's in North Carolina. She's watching shows because she's not out there anymore. She goes, women who are Latina have thicker black hair. And she goes, most white women, their hair is not that thick. Now, is that true? Because my mouth dropped when she told me that. And she goes, Brian, that's why you're seeing so many hair extensions. See, another woman told me this. So I want to validate it.
There's different veneers of hair. So for like a Caucasian woman, it's a little bit softer, finer. Someone like myself it's a little coarser. Sometimes I have straight parts, and then I've got the wavy parts in the back. And so, and then when you get to more ethnic hair, then there's more like heat and other things you need to do to it to get it to flatten the cuticle. And so, and that's just normal hair. And so, Terri, to your point, the whole idea is for people not to know that you have hair extensions.
Yep.
Right? So it's like a little secret. Yeah. But for our brand, like, I don't mind. Tell everyone. That's what I would. It's okay, And
Jill, I've been telling everybody, and I've never worn them before, and I will never be wearing them.
Don't say never, because
I'd watch that show. I'd watch the show where Kid comes over and tries hair extensions on you, Brian.
I think we need to do some minoxidil first, and
right.
I'll leave that to Howard.
Right.
Go ahead, Jill.
I think it depends on. It's an individual choice. It depends on how much hair you have. I mean, obviously, if you're having any kind of issues with hair growth or thinning or anything like that, then you obviously want to be careful. Our hair extensions are not your traditional hair extensions. They're ponytail hair extensions.
They're awesome.
And they are premium fiber. They are not real human hair. But I do want to just bring Tess in for just a minute. Tess, we have not had the pleasure of meeting, but I feel like I know you only because Sophia Milos, I met her at the Emmys Gifting Suite last year. That's where we launched our brand. And also I met her at the Oscars again. I was able to see her again, give her a hug. And she's worn our extensions quite a bit. And she actually wore them at the Oscars where she had the beautiful red gown. So that was my moment with Tess, is that I was able to share that with Sophia and her red carpet looks. So thrilled to see that.
So Jill, hold us for a second. Because of the hair and because of the dress and because of Terri, that clip that we put in Franklin, Tennessee, because Tess, you're in Nashville, has got 157,851 views since May 15th.
Nice.
May 15th. That's not on YouTube. Not on YouTube. Wow. I didn't put that shit. I mean, it's only got 235 views on the YouTube short. No, I'm sorry. 735. But again, 157,851. So I think if it keeps going this way, we're in June, it could get to 500,000, 500,000 by the end of August, the latest.
Wow.
If not before then. That's your dress and that's your hair extensions. So congratulations to you guys, you women on that, and Terri. Hey, Howard, talk about this. Because Howard's that dapper guy. He's always out there dancing. I saw him dancing last week with a lot of my friends.
Looking good, Howard.
That the women, because there's a lot of fashionable women in Tennessee, and you know what's going on. And I'll be there next week. Talk about that, Howard. Tell them who you are, and then we're going to go back to Jill and have Jill describe and tell everybody who she is and how she started.
Okay, I'm Howard Wiggins. I'm one of the top 35 leading interior designers. I'm listed in Andrew Martin, Volume 3. If you Facebook me, you'll see my home, and pretty much that's it. Because I'm almost 72, and when I turned 65, I quit doing my interior design. So now I just feature my own home. which I plan to move next year into a different home so I get some better pictures. So, and I'm son of Little Roy Wiggins, plays steel guitar with Eddie Arnold. So, and you're right, Nashville's full of women all over the place. I mean, I went dancing the other night. I think it was me and two other guys, and that was it. In a whole room full of women. So we had a good time. I had a good time.
Yeah.
I saw you line dancing.
Hey, Jill.
Thank you.
How did you start your story?
Nice.
Excuse me?
How did you start your story? How did this start for you?
It took quite a bit of time to get to where I'm at today, as all of us, I think, can attest to, right? It's always a journey. I have been in this business for a long time, in the beauty business, and all forms and fashions. And an opportunity presented itself about a year and a half ago, maybe close to 2 years, where I was basically at a crossroads in my career. I was connected with like a mutual acquaintance that told me that, hey, you need to speak to our CEO of Qcura. Her name is Alice Singh, and she said, you know what, I want you two to meet, and I think that you'd be great based on your experience and what she wants to do. She wanted to create a beauty brand, specifically hair extensions and accessories, and then wherever this takes us. She says, I think you two should chat. And so we had a conversation, and it was like we were old friends. So easy to just connect and talk about similar just goals, and it basically just presented itself before me. And where I was at a point where you kind of get, when you've been in the business for a long time and you're working for other people, it's their goals, their whatever you're trying to hit for that company, and I'm always have been all in, team player, all of the above. But when the opportunity presented itself to, hey, let's build this brand together, and I trust you to everything you've learned, everything however way you got here, we want you to take that and put it into this. And so the offer I couldn't refuse, just based on that, being able to have that autonomy and flexibility and freedom to really just go, okay, let's do this. This is going to be amazing. And it honestly has been. And, thanks to, people that I've met along this path, Brian, we launched at the Emmys Gifting Suite. I had met Heather Mariana. She's a friend of yours, and she's been on the show before. And it was a great opportunity for us to launch and to get in front of the public and people and show them what the products look like. When you're an e-commerce brand, you sort of lose that person-to-person, connection. And, again, I come from a place where it wasn't always e-commerce, and you went into a retail store and you got to touch and feel and have that whole experience. And I thrive on that. So that's kind of where the relationships come in, people like Heather who set up events where you can really shine and take advantage of a situation and the people you meet and take it from there. And we did that at the Emmys, met a bunch of amazing people who have supported the brand and still do, like Sophia Milos and so many others. And then also we were at her Oscars event. And then that was crazy because people already knew about us. I just think that was just from last year, September to this year. So it was a really amazing response from people. And I built these friendships, and it's just such an amazing, cool feeling to see them. You get to hug them, you get to talk to them, you give them more hair, and, we're helping each other out. And just as you said, Brian, it's these small brands, mom and pop, or just however way you want to look at it, just small entrepreneurial brands like ours, where we need that support. And so I am 1,000% about supporting anybody who I meet in any way that I can, because there's always a crossover. There's always something someone else and someone that can do something kind for you, and it helps. Everything helps tremendously.
And that's about always promoting. Carol and I talk about this all the time. Small mom and pop businesses, women owned. It's very, very important. you don't get to do. And again, we would not be movie reviews more than Dream Room Artist Ranch where we are if it weren't for women. I saw it in 08. I saw it in the early 90s. What was not being done. And I was a small guy at that point. I was never syndicated. I was always thinking outside the box, as I always say to everybody. I'm hovering above the box because I'm seeing what people can't see. And I think it's a disservice when people aren't supporting those businesses. Because Jill, your booth was wonderful. When I can go by and I pick it up and I'm looking for my female friends, and I'm not sure if it will work, but at least I can take that card and give it to them and say, because I travel with business cards. I have a big, huge stack of business cards that comes with me no matter what state I'm in, because I want to make sure I tag those stores, those individuals, those artists properly, because I don't see anybody doing it. And then, Tess, you'll get a kick out of this. When I'm on the red carpet, I'm actually looking at women's hair. I feel like I'm a detective. Is it real? Is it Memorex or is it not? Because I can't tell, but I'm like, good for that woman. But women telling you these days, they'll tell you, no, it's not real, but I love it. And I love that. I'm like, well, where did you get yours? Because I know someone named Jill's got hers. So
yeah, if you ever see me and ask me, I might just take mine off for you. And I've done that before, but that's just
I love my brand. That's amazing. Listen, Jill, I'll buy the wigs if you buy my movie. We can switch and support each other.
I cannot wait to watch your movie. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Same here. Same here.
It's
really
hysterical, and then it'll make you cry at the same moment. I loved it. Loved the movie.
All right, so Marta, for people that don't know about it, what is this movie?
Oh my gosh, it's my baby. I mean, you talk about like being in the business forever. I've been in the business since I was 7. And I decided to take it into my own hands and start writing for myself. And this movie took 9 years. But it's in fashion of how I am as a woman. I love being funny and I love crying in the next sentence. I'm just full of emotion. It's a dramedy in the tone of my own life. And it's about 3 Mexican-American sisters, 3 Latinas. Although I am Costa Rican, I will confess. I am playing a Mexican-American, but I know a lot about the culture, being from Texas and also being here for 20 years in Los Angeles. And they are estranged. They haven't talked in a really long time. And to repair their relationship, they take their abuela, their grandmother's pilgrimage through Mexico. And 2 of them have never been to Mexico, have never been to their parents' country, which is very common for Latin Americans here in the US. And so there's a fish out of water experience for these 3 sisters and the way they interact with the culture and the country. And they go on this pilgrimage and they meet this wonderful, handsome, beautiful man named Cristo Fernandez, who you might know from Telemundo. Actually, his sister, Paloma, wore one of Tess's beautiful gowns and ended up in People magazine, by the way, as her best friend.
All right, so Howard, I feel bad. You and I are the only ones that are never going to wear Tessa's dresses, I guess.
Oh, I can make you one. I think you'd look great in a strapless.
Yeah.
Maybe a one shoulder.
I have to agree, and then Jill can come with her extensions. I think that would work out perfect.
That sounds amazing.
Here.
Hey, Carol, so it's a good segue into you, or what you do here in Florida and Chile, and what you do as that neuro coach.
Yeah, I was going to say, Marta, I live in Chile as well as Florida. I have a place, a boutique hotel in the Andes Mountains, and we do run retreats, so reach out to me.
Yes, please. I absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you say Chile?
Chile, yeah.
I was just there. I did a campaign for Nissan. I was there for 12 days. And what was the Volcano Villarreal?
Oh, we're actually 3.5 hours north of Patagonia near Volcan Villarrica.
Yes.
How Lago Villarrica. Yeah.
Yeah, Villarrica. That's what it was, not Villarreal.
Oh, you were there? You were in Villarrica?
I was in Villarrica. Yes.
Incredible.
And they took the snow from the bottom of the volcano and they melted it and then they poured it on me. They did pay me, so it was okay, but it was very cold.
Did you see the lake? We have one of the largest black sand beaches on a lake, and incredible hot springs and waterfalls. It's like living in a
Gorgeous.
sorry,
And they say it's the best air in the entire world. There's this specific moss that grows there, and it only grows in the highest quality air.
That's
and so
right.
I said, right there's and I felt high from how wonderful the air was, just so you know.
Oh, that's so exciting. I love that. I went to bed at 3 a.m. last night because I'm with my new grandbaby. And so if I
tell him I said hi.
That's why. Yeah. So I'm on a little bit of sleep duty, but I would love, to see you guys or talk to you about the retreat. Jill, I am super excited because I am now working with Heather and excited about the upcoming gifting suite. September 11th. And there's so many great things going on. I'm running a masterclass on March 12th. I love helping women close the gap from 6 to 7 figures. And Tess, it's really about that female empowerment. I feel like at this stage in our history, it's time for great women to have great wealth, to have great impact. And, women learn wealth and gain wealth differently than men do. I also teach universal wealth laws that are in combination with neuroscience principles to help women close this gap. And I think it's really important that we start to empower women as a collective and we stand together, because together we rise. And it's really such beneficial wisdom. Brian and I talk about this all the time, that women have. It's a collective wisdom that really brings light and love to the world when we empower one another. So that's one of the things I love doing. And my masterclass is on March 12th. I mean, June 12th. What planet am I on? It's June 12th.
This year's gone by too fast.
Because it's that lack of sleep, right? It's definitely that lack of sleep. But upcoming on June 12th, it's Heal Your Limiting Money Stories to Unlock Your 7-Figure Wealth. And I'm
writing this
I would love
down.
to see you guys there. Yeah, I would absolutely love to have you. So.
Hey, Tess, talk about this really quickly. How did you go from being a former FBI agent to what you're doing now? And when did you know you had it?
Wow.
God. Oh, a long story into a very short version. I was just very fortunate. I grew up in an era where clothing didn't get thrown away. You repurposed it. Back in, more than 60 years ago, people saved their clothing. They handed it down to other children with, that were growing. So my mother, my grandmother, we would all get together, take apart clothing and make it more modern. So, basically from the age of 7, I started to learn how to sew, and then, small steps, sewing buttons on and then eventually taking pieces apart. And when I was in high school, I started competing for the Miss America scholarship pageants, again, not knowing I needed an evening gown. So my mother and I started designing and creating my own evening gowns. And that's what I did, and earned scholarship monies throughout my teenage years and early 20s to attend university. I always loved creating. I always loved the uniqueness I brought to my own evening wear. But my first love was what we called back then psychopathology. I was always interested in pretty much modus operandi of serial killers. So I started studying serial profiling, and I had the opportunity to work for several years as a psychiatric intern, and then continued on into my master's. And I was recruited by the FBI in 1998 and, continued with the FBI for a few decades. But I always continued to design my own clothing, my suits, my evening gowns. I attended a lot of charity events. So I would create my own clothing suitable for those functions. And as I got closer to retirement, I really, had a discussion with my husband and said, I would really like to go back into fashion and do something where people are happy to see me rather than me bringing a set of handcuffs. So, that's where I started, and I started working out of my home in 2013. And it's only been over the, past year and a half that I actually brought my designs and my collections to the public on a larger scale versus private clientele.
Wow, you really springboard, because it looks like you've been around for a while, even though I knew you weren't. But the word of mouth is, maybe I'm talking too much, I guess, but the word of mouth on you is getting out there, because all of a sudden we start talking about stuff, and then I hear it cross country when I'm starting to visit people in other states. And it's kind of fascinating in a way.
Keep going, talk more.
Well, that's what we're supposed to be doing. When you see something good, or you see something that nobody's heard of, I like to have first dibs on everything. I don't care if it's male, female product, doesn't matter. I want it because I want to be able to showcase it in the beginning. And that is important to us. And then if it's anything on the red carpet, well, that's where Terri comes in, that does anything like that. If it's anything in Nashville and you happen to be in Nashville, that's where Howard comes in, and our friend Jim Jackson, Morelia, Manuel, who's there. They're all friends of ours. They're always, they're all very close to what we do, which is great. So when I'm seeing these things now, it's like an honor for me, because I get to spread the word in a different way to other people who may not know or don't know where to go.
Yeah. And
absolutely.
What beauty, Tess. I mean, it reminds me, I know we've spoken about this before, Brian, on the show, but the creativity, when you're in your creative brain, that's where healing occurs, right? And that struck me that, you moved from something that could be a lot of heavy energy, a lot of difficulty and negativity, to something where you're stepping into beauty and creativity and the power of that. So,
yes, very, very much a different spectrum of life, much more enjoyable. But I certainly agree with, what Jill has said, Marta, everyone, Carol. It's so important as small business owners, or even as we progress, that we lift each other up versus looking at each other as competitors.
Right.
And, that's how everyone gains cohesiveness and support from the community, is by everyone uplifting each other and sharing their experiences with those other companies, those small businesses. And that's the only way we can succeed.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. You know why? Because I'm a firm believer that there's enough wealth for everybody in the world, and you don't need to take somebody's shine because you're jealous. And too many people are so jealous of other people, they don't focus on themselves and their own creativity. And that's kind of sad, because if you put all that energy onto worrying about what other people are doing and make your own creations, you're a successful person.
Yeah.
Well, and on my end, with my two partners, Virginia Novello and Valeria Maldonado, we wrote the movie together to uplift each other's careers.
Yep.
So I always say that I look good on a red carpet, as long as I'm in one of her gowns. But
what are you talking about? You look good right now.
You look good right now. Yeah.
I look even better when I have my two partners next to me. Like the three of us, as three Latina women standing on a carpet. I wish we had a picture, but it is. I can't say enough about them. Oh, look at that.
I love it. Yay.
I love that so much. That was at the premiere of our film. That's Valeria. That's me with longer hair. I cut all my hair off for the premiere. It's usually down. That's why I'm like, Jill, I need your extensions. But it is. It's like, look at us.
I love that. That to me is
beautiful.
Those are all Tess Mann.
That's Tess Mann.
Wow.
She lent to us for a photo shoot we had as we went on our press tour. I said, Tess, we need to be dressed for our press tour, and we're indie film. We would love your support. She's like, I would love to. And so she's really uplifted. Tess showed up for us. I don't know if you realize this, but you really showed up for us in a moment where we really needed that support, because part of press, as actors in front of the camera, filmmakers, we have to look like we are what we are. If you come in dressed right for the red carpet, then you get more interviews, you get taken seriously. And for an indie film that we needed all the press and support that we could get. Right now,
it was my pleasure. My pleasure. I mean, I think just the energy from Marta and the three girls, my whole team immediately fell in love with the entire cast. So it has been our gift from you that we've had that opportunity, to meet you and the lovely ladies and establish, relationships with them. So.
Tess, I'm going to piggyback on that, and Terri, can come to you in a minute on red carpet stuff. What is it like for you when people are actually wearing something that you put your whole art into, Tess? What's that feeling like for you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's, again, it is surreal because, I'm very, very proud of my creations because they are unique and different. But at the same time, I'm so proud of the individuals that choose to wear the pieces, wear the different styles. And I almost feel like every single person that wears one of my designs is a baby, going out, I'm like, I'm very, very invested that they feel wonderful and they feel strong and they feel confident when they're walking out, that they feel supported, that they're not worried that their body isn't showing the way it should, in an evening gown where, a million eyes are on them. So it's a proud moment, but a humbling moment, at the same time.
Hey, Howard, I'm coming to you and then Jill in a minute. Terri, talk about what's important to you when you're doing those interviews on the red carpet, because you wore Jill's hair extensions. You haven't worn Tess's dress yet, Terri, yet. But you're interviewing all those people, because what's been happening with Terri, I can't figure it out, just like I haven't figured Howard out. Why I know why people like Howard, but when Terry's doing certain interviews on the red carpets, older interviews pop up. I'm not sure if it's the person, if it's Terri, what she's wearing, because Terri will be running to me, how do I look? And I'm thinking about everything. And the last thing I'm thinking about, I don't know, I can't see it yet. And then once I start to calm down, I'm like, Terri, you look good, because everybody's throwing everything at me. And I'm like, I feel like Tom Cruise and AI. I'm shifting things out like this, and there's like you got to get all this stuff done, and then they're coming, and you got to get them, because you might only get one opportunity. They might come and get their photo from Paul. I ran into Paul Marta, who took your photos at the Greek Film Festival. And it was one of those things where you only get one and done, one chance sometimes, and you might not see people for a long time, if ever again. So, Terri, what's it like for you to do red carpet interviews?
Well, I mean, of course I want to look my best when I'm on the red carpet, but when I'm interviewing, a celebrity or artist or whoever we interview, I want to find about them, who they're wearing. I love fashion, and I like to, kind of get inspiration from, what other people are wearing. Again, I told you that my mom was a fashion buyer. My grandmother was a designer. So I kind of grew up around clothes my whole life, and I love clothes. But when I'm interviewing somebody, it's about them, but I also want to make them smile and try to throw some comedy out there, to be a little bit different than the boring person who interviews somebody. The best thing to do is to make somebody laugh and feel comfortable when I'm on the red carpet from them. And I really enjoy, trying to learn about, what their experience is and how they're feeling. I guess, does that answer your question on that?
It does, because it's important. Because I've seen a lot of women interview people, and they make it about them, and I'm like, no, this is not going.
No,
it's about the person you're interviewing and what they're wearing. Even I will ask them, don't forget. I'll whisper, don't forget to tell them, ask them what they're wearing. It's important. People are there for a certain reason. That designer, their nails, the hair, the face, everything. It's very, very important, right, Howard?
Yeah, no. I want to say that I've noticed a shift, and as an interior designer, I'm very much on fashion, men and women's fashion. But there's been a shift toward, I almost call it laziness, where they're just trying to show everything all at once. They're not having any mystery to it. And it's like, it's kind of been dumbed down. And your fashion is very elegant and very flattering to the woman. So it does empower the woman. But you see some of these entertainers, it's just, what can I show? How naked can I look without being naked? You know, and I just don't like that. It's like it takes all the elegance out of it and the star power, the glamour out of it. Everybody can take their clothes off. That's no big deal. But can you look good in your clothes? You know?
And can you carry yourself? I mean, you have to carry yourself in the clothes. You know, it's all a presentation. Yeah.
It is. It is. And go ahead. So how
I
do
don't
you
get
answer that, Terry?
that was good. Hey Jill, we got a couple minutes left. Talk about why people should support small business. Why is that important, especially for what you have?
I think it's about, communities. We've gone away from supporting our own communities in our industries, and everything has been so big and so corporate and so mass. Mass market has just taken over everything, and it's crushed the spirit of a small entrepreneurial company, or even someone who's thinking of doing it. And so, building that community is so extremely critical. And, it's you need the support. That's really where it comes. And it's organic. It's like, we always talk about organic. Well, in our businesses, I thrive on being organic and building those relationships and organic followings and the relationships and helping each other. It gives you that empowerment that you need, so that that you're not being unseen. You're being seen, you're being heard, and you're sort of being, led along this path with others that are trying to do, whatever they're trying to do. So I think it's so important that we all sort of stick together to do that, so that we are heard and we're seen, and then we can take it to the next level. And it's absolutely possible. It's absolutely possible.
Jill, I really loved what you shared earlier along with that about I felt in the same place in the past of living other people's plans for my life. Like I was living everybody else's plans except my own goals and dreams. And finally being able to step forward in that, I related to what you said in that way. And then also, stepping into the support, the relationships, the connections, building the followings based on the authentic connections that we have with one another. I really appreciate that.
It really is everything, right? I mean, everybody that we have supporting us, whether it's family, friends, it means everything. And when you lose that, it's a very quiet, dark place, right? So we always have to, these our businesses, our missions, our what we're trying. We're not just a hair brand. We're so much more. I mean, I love every single person that I talk to on our DMs. I memean, I've built these really incredible relationships that you can't make it up.
Yeah.
So I appreciate everybody here on this panel, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Give me social media links for everybody.
Yeah.
Jill, social media links.
Oh, yes. It's Love Qcura. That's our Instagram. That's our Facebook. The company name is Qcura High Quality Hair Extensions, but for social, it's Love Qcura. You can DM anytime. I'm usually on the other end there. And if you need anything for any of your red carpet moments, please reach out. I would love to add to Tess's beautiful designs. And you can
Wiggins
on our website, Qcura.com.
Howard Wiggins, Facebook, movies, reviews, and more, and Instagram. That's it.
Terri.
It's Terri Marie nonstop on all platforms, because I'm nonstop because of all the stuff I always got going on. And I'm going to be visiting our friend Jenny Jackson this weekend in Nashville. So I'm really excited about taking a little vacation to Nashville, to Howard. So I'm going to be out in your neck of woods this weekend.
Bring me some artwork. I've never seen your artwork.
Okay, I will. I'll show it to you. I will show it to you this weekend.
Okay.
All right. We got to show this trailer real quick of the Week Film Festival. What's happening this week? So what happened over the weekend, really quickly, Los Angeles Week Film Festival, the 19th anniversary for it, which was great. Obviously, Sophia was there. Oliver Stone was there. Ted Sononos from Netflix was there. John Landis was there. And a bunch of great dignitaries and a bunch of our newfound friends from Cyprus and Greece. And some of them from Italy, too, which was great. So a great film festival. We're going to get more into it next week. Marta, give your social media links for everybody.
Well, first of all, I want to say we're available right now to rent or buy LasTres Sisters or The Three Sisters. We just added that. So you can search us on Apple TV, Amazon, Prime Video, Fandango, wherever you can rent or buy, even Blu-ray DVD, just so you know, Target, Amazon. But you can find us at LasTres Sisters Movie on Instagram and all the platforms. And for me, Marta M. Cross.
Yeah. Tess, you get the last word of this. Why should people go out and support what you're creating? Those beautiful dresses and everything like that. Go for it.
Well, I think what makes me different from some fashion designers is that I'm really focusing on empowering women with the clothing that they're wearing, using that as their armor so that they can feel prepared, confident, and ready to be their own unique selves in front of everybody. They don't need to pretend anymore. And the fact that we are also entirely focused and committed to following a very sustainable brand.
And we will continue to spread the word because it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Like I said, if I was a woman, I think I'd be wearing Sophia. So that's what I like. Anyhow, thank you, everybody. It's not always easy squeezing all these things in, especially when you don't have enough time, but you have enough people and, just being booked almost straight to the year. We're in October bookings already. We only got like 2 months of the stuff, and I don't know how I'm going to fit everybody who wants to come in. So thank everybody for coming. You're always welcome back, and we have to have you back so we have more time to get more into everything. And I say this always, have a good night tonight, a better day tomorrow. You see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours because the world truly needs it. I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.